Hello everyone, welcome to my next video. This one I'm going to do really quickly because I have the opportunity to do so. This is going to be the next video in my PvP series. It's going to be video concepts of PvP 1, information. What that entails is essentially everything to do with being a scout, being involved in the information process, and it's probably the most important job in the entire fleet operation. The most important thing that FCs need is fleet information. They need to know what's going on at all times. They need people specifically designated to be scouts and find out what the information is and what is information, right? What does that even mean? Well, based on our intel here, we can see we have some enemies in GA9 now. And a scout is the one that reports. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate. Let me go ahead and press that and show you that as a scout, our job is to find enemies, find how many there are, post them in their system, provide intel, use your D-scan to figure out what ships, and add all that information you can to your fleet operation or whatever it is there may be, right? So there's a few people here, there's a Brutix Navy issue. I'm getting a sense of what's going on, and this is just kind of a really quick impromptu situation. If I was in Discord right now, operating as a scout for the fleet command, the FC, I would say, okay, we have 4 newts in GA9, they're in a Brutix, Magus, Omen Navy, and 1 missing, most likely a combat recon. I'm going to try to descan exactly where they are based on the grid, see if I can find a location. And I'm just holding down V and clicking on different locations to see if I can find them. It seems like they are somewhere towards the center of... Actually, they're towards the HP gate. So I can zoom in, see what's happening on HP gate, and see if they're actually there, if they're actually at the ESS, if they're actually at the center of the solar system, whatever they may be doing. This is the part of the job that the scout has. So you're going to be warping around different places, looking for the enemies, essentially, and keeping track of where they're going. You see that they're despiking now. They may have changed systems and gone... I see the Open Navy issue. They probably went to maybe not HP, maybe GA9. Or I'm sorry, we're in GA9. So I'm keeping eyes on what's going on. I'm trying to keep eyes on what's going on, and trying to get a sense of where they could have gone. I was in this area scanning both the 7Y gate and the C1 gate. So I'm going to try and go to C1 and see if they went that way, because in either 7Y may be clear. No one is reporting an intel what's going on in 7Y, so it's not likely that they went that way. So I'm going to go to C1 Hab and see if they're there, okay? And this is the job of the scout. You're just going around, you're utilizing your stealth cloak situation, you're trying to find the enemies, and once you do find the enemies, the second part of this is to get on grid with them. You get onto their location, watch with your eyes what exactly they're doing, how far away they are, where they are. We see it's enemies, full of enemies in C1 Hab, so I'm going to report all of them right now. I'm going to say D-scan first. I D-scan the area, don't see anything, open up my map, see where I'm at. I'm going to warp to a safe, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to drop some combat probes, and I'm going to move those out of system and scan away from them so that no one can descan the combat probes. At the same time, I'm going to cloak up. You can see I cloaked up right here, and I'm just going to keep descanning to try to find these guys. I see we have a Brutix, I see we have a Legion, I see we have a Magus. There's something going on between these two groups here. They're different groups. They might be fighting. So I'm going to descan and try to find where they're at and see if I can get a ping on them, and maybe observe and tell my fake fleet operation here what's going on, if anything. So it seems like they're somewhere over here, maybe near a POS, whatever. Point is, I'm zooming in, I'm using my D-scan to see where they're at, and I see they're within 5 AU of this marker. So they're somewhere right around here. I'm going to go ahead and take this. I'm going to go ahead and take my combat scanners because I have a good idea of where they're at now. So I'm going to use my combat scanners and zoom in on the area I think they're in. Press scan. I'm going to update my anomaly scanner and look to see if I can lock in on someone, right? So I'm scanning, I'm waiting, descanning, seeing what's going on. Okay, I see Vellator, I see some warriors, I see a Lachesis, I see a Legion. I'm going to warp to with 100 and hope that there's no bubbles there. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and move the combat scanners away so that they are out of descan range and I can see what's happening on grid. So that's how you combat scan. That's a part of being a scout. You can kind of see what's going on. I warped at a 100, and now because I'm cloaked up, I'm seeing the situation. If I was in a fleet operation as a scout, I'd see, okay, there was a skyhook theft going on. There's right now a Magus, Legion, Zarmzad, Brutix Navy issue, Lachesis, Stiletto. There's two groups fighting on grid right now, trying to fight each other. They are approximately 100 kilometers-ish, 40 kilometers-ish away from the skyhook. I myself am 80 kilometers away from the Legion and the enemies. Do not warp to me, and you just consistently give updates on what's going on. At this point, you can see, okay, they're this is just a fight that's happening, it seems like, or maybe they're friendly. They may not even be enemies. These guys are all together. So at this point, I'm on grid, I'm seeing what's going on. I type in what's happening, and I give them an update of all the ships that are here. So I descan again, press V to descan. I'm going to make this a 360 in the region. I'm going to copy this, and link it in there. And then I'm going to take their names as well and put it here. So these guys, and what you can do as a scout as well is you can use your track, you can use your look at and see what they're doing. So this ship is hitting one of these guys. This guy is using boosters, and as a scout in a FC, you'd be saying, okay, still on grid, watching what's happening. Seems like the Omen Navy issue is being jammed to some degree, or sitting here boosted, shield repped. We don't really know, but you just continuously give information on what's happening. It seems like they're all working together and sitting on the skyhook. So as a scout, your job is to just continuously give updates to the FC, report anything new, if they moved within range of the ESS, if they're warping away, what direction they're warping. You follow them every single time, right? So this is how you participate as a scout. This is the main category of what information is in a PvP operation. And that essentially means as long as the FC know what's going on, they can try to think up a plan to work around this. They can try to figure out what they want to do and how to counter this situation. We can see there's a Lachesis, we can see there's a Magus, we can see there's a Legion. It's a very interesting, we can see there's a Zarmzad. So we know these information because I'm sitting here scouting, watching what's going on. The FC that I'm reporting this all to can potentially call in counters to these ships. We can warp into, I can get closer in as a scout in my covert ops ship and say, hey, warp to me at whatever distance, right? 10 meters and or 10 kilometers. And whatever ship type that they decide to bring in here, we will be able to hopefully counter and alpha this Zarmzad, and that's the primary target. You can see here, there's, the Lachesis too. You can help by reporting what's in here. You can help your FC understand what the priority target is, where they're at, what they're doing on grid, where we can try to set up a situation to have a favorable outcome in this fight. Okay? So that's how you scout. This is what you do. I'm going to keep watching. At that point, I see, okay, one of them warped off. It looks like he warped to the POS. A Legion warped in the direction of the POS, the bookmark that we have for the 00 POS. You just continuously provide information while you're on grid of whatever's happening and try to get distances. Try to see, how far away these guys are from the skyhook. You can see, you should report there's an Omen Navy issue looting the skyhook on grid. He's tethered. There is a Stiletto on the outside towards the planet, about probably close to 100 kilometers away. There is the Zarmzad who's repping the Omen, and there's a few others of the Lachesis, the Magus. They're all sitting here ready to take on anyone that warps in, essentially. So that's how you would report things. You'd say, okay, there's a Brutix Navy issue. It seems like it's a rail Brutix. It's not a brawler one, so it's off grid, 70 kilometers, or 40 to 50 kilometers away from the orbital skyhook. And by providing all this information, your FC can then go ahead and make the decisions that they need to make. Alright? So what kind of things should you do as a scout? What kind of ships make sense for this? A lot of interceptors, a lot of different types of scouts. The most common one being stealth bombers or covert ops. This is the scout ship that I've created for this particular reason. It has a combat expanded probe launcher with combat scanner probes. I used the combat scanner probes to scan them down after descanning their general location. Obviously a cloaking device, a Sino if you are capable with covert ops. Sometimes if you want to set up a Sino opportunity, you can use this ship as a Sino and call in reinforcements on these enemies once you kind of get close enough and you can disrupt them. So if I were in a position where we had a Sino operation set up, I can move towards the Brutix Navy, get within 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers, disrupt him, and then Sino, and all my guys would Sino in, lock him down, and kill him, right? So this is a good way to counter as a scout and set up situations that are advantageous for your fleet. But otherwise, you want to have a lot of navigation supporting options. I have a sub 3 second align time because of these internal stabilizers and this internal structure. And I also have some scanning bonuses. So I have the scan acquisition array, which reduces the scan time of your probes. That means that the quicker that they scan, the less likely the enemy is going to descan your combat scanner probes and realize they're getting scanned. Same thing with this. I have a rig that improves my ship's scan probe strength so that I can find the ships and scan them quicker because the strength is higher. And then this is just another, this specific rig actually is here to increase the warp speed. Having really high warp speed on these ships means you can travel between systems faster than the enemy, you can get ahead of them, you can catch up to them. Having really high warp speed is actually super important for a scout. So many of those interceptors, the fast frigates, certain ships including covert ops, having really high warp speed is actually essential to be a good scout. Okay? So this is what we do. I'm going to go ahead and switch to Discord and unmute and let everyone know what's going on in lobby since I am already in here. So, hey everyone, I'm scouting currently what's going on in C1 Hab with the 7 other people. They have a Zarmzad, Brutix Navy, Lachesis, Magus, Omen Navy issue, and a Legion who warped off. I'm watching them on grid right now. They're robbing the skyhook. They're all together. So I would recommend, if anything, not to engage unless we get, 10 to 12 people, and if that's the case, we can set up something to probably tackle their Brutix Navy since I'm relatively close to him, or I can move closer to him.
What kind of ships do we need?
Not sure, but if we had a fleet operation going, in order to counter this, we would focus the Zarmzad first because that's a Logi ship, and then the Brutix is far out, he does rails, and we have a Lachesis on grid too and a Magus. So there's 3 specific choices. There's the Zarmzad, the Magus, and the Lachesis. Usually the Magus is the one that you choose first because they have the boosts, the fleet boosts, and they probably have speed fleet boosts on there, so killing that guy first is best, then the Zarmzad, and then the Lachesis. But I don't know if we have enough people in fleet to want to take on this challenge, so I'm just observing them for now and letting everyone know what's going on.
We need to actually your fleet. So we know how many people we have.
So that's not a bad number.
Barbu has an IX.
Oh, Barbaro's here. Okay, that's probably a hot job, so I don't necessarily think we should engage. But despite the fact that's the information, I will continue to update people if necessary, depending on what they're doing. And that's how you do it. That's how you scout. If there was an actual fleet operation, if something was really going on, I'd continuously do this job, warping with this group, system by system, trying to find where they are on grid, get a good sense of where they are relative to the nearby celestial, if they are tens to hundreds of kilometers off a gate, if they are traveling to a specific gate, if they're going in certain directions or aligning to certain places. I would say, okay, the Brutix is moving in close now. He's getting to within range of the Skyhook, they just speed boosted, so they're likely going to set something up to warp out, etc., etc. Okay? So that is how you scout. Unfortunately, we don't have any way to really address this, but this is what you do as a scout. If you have any further questions, if you have any comments, if there's anything I left out, feel free to let me know. This is what we need most in a fleet operation. The more information the FC has, the better that they can decide whether or not to engage, what to engage with, and how to engage these encounters. So this is where scouting and information is super important. Getting the ship types early, getting the location, getting the type of playstyle, the warfare type that they're working on. In this case, they're doing Skyhook robbery. Trying to get an understanding of where and what's going on. We know that a ally of theirs that is a known hot dropper is moving through the systems as well. So it's in our best interest to not engage because they'll just drop a bunch of blob ships on us. So we have enough information here due to my work and due to us using our intel properly to know this is not a fight we should take and to stay docked. Alright? So again, any other questions? Feel free to reach out. If I missed anything, let me know. I can always make an additional video on this. I'm going to probably make another video on combat probing specifically as well. That is related to how to be a scout or just how to find enemies and gank them or kill them. So I can do that in the future. But yeah, hope to see you guys next time. If you're interested in being a scout, let me know. Have a good one. I'll see you out there.